Thank you guys out there for rolling with your boy. We are continue to rock and roll. We got the draft coming up. We got so many great things coming up. Thank you guys out there for checking us out on Facebook, through my personal page, through the network's page, through the ShakeBack Media Group's page, as well as YouTube for the BGC Sports Network, DH Impact Media on Twitter, as well as the ShakeBack Media Group's Twitter page, as well as Instagram TV. I see y'all out there watching. Come on in. Welcome your comments. We about to get to some real talk here in just a second, just in case you missed it in the first segment. Yes, we did discuss Luka's return. The Don returned to Dallas. Luka Doncic, that is, and the game that he had against his former mates. Nothing short of sensational there. We're going to get into some NBA here in just a moment. Some more NBA, rather, as of course, Mike Malone, the head coach of the Denver Nuggets, was fired. I'm fired. I'll take the back door, or I'll be right back. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that before we actually get to, as the title says, how much more? How much more can we take? Big day. Thank you for everything that you are and everything that you do. This second segment, it is being brought to you by us. Who is us? We is us. Who is we? We is the Big Game Christian Sports Network. My BGC merch. You have your chance to support the BGC Sports Network is finally here. Introducing the My BGC Merch Store, where you can purchase authentic BGC merch like our BGC coffee mugs, the overhyped, unofficial, slightly censored Turkey Den t-shirt, as well as the BGC desk mat and so much more. Just go to my BGC merch page at bgcsports.net and place your order today. My BGC merch is waiting for you. And as a matter of fact, Big Day, I have not forgotten. I do know I need to go out there and get my t-shirt for the overhyped, unofficial, slightly censored draft talk that we will be doing in less than 2 weeks. So never fear, the money will be near. Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to have to get it on credit. We'll see. But anyway, let's get on back to the show because we talked about Luka and the Lakers and the return of the Don all in the first segment. Talked about how jumbled the Western Conference is and how teams 3 through 8 basically are separated by like a game and a half, or 4 through 8 are separated like a game and a half. And it's going to be a bloodbath the final week and weekend of the season, simply because teams are trying to stay out of that play-in tournament. And my thought is the older your team is, the more you want to avoid that tournament. So it's going to be bloodbathing, as I said in the first segment, much like we used to see the Western Conference bloodbathing when you had teams that were finishing 500 or better and not making the playoffs. How dope is that? So real quick, let's get to, and please drop your comments down below as I point downward to the screen. The lighting is on point today. So yeah, drop your comments, please, if you don't mind, and we'll get them shouted out on the air for you. So yeah, Mike Malone, the esteemed basketball coach, or shall I say former basketball coach of the Denver Nuggets, has been relieved of his duties, aka he's been fired. He was fired with 5 games left to go in the season, or whatever the Nuggets had left at that point in time. Why? Well, at the time that it came out, nobody really knew. But as the days have progressed and the hourglass has turned upside down, the reports are starting to flow that it was indeed a team thing in the locker room being lost by one Coach Malone. And let me just shout out to my big homie and my co-host, or maybe I'm his co-host, on the ShakeBack DH Impact podcast that we do every Tuesday and Thursday. When this news broke on Tuesday, we talked about it. And I was like, yo, I hope this is not a superstar thing. Because if it is, then what does that say? Well, we know who the superstars are. Well, we know who the superstar is. The stars are Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray to a lesser degree. But Nikola Jokic, of course, is the straw that stirs the drink. So here is the deal with that. As the ownership in Stan Kroenke has said, yo, we don't want this guy to be the head of our team going into the playoffs. Going into the playoffs, and somehow they've advanced further than what they would like to see, because what's that going to do? Well, it's going to give the credit to the head coach, something that they obviously don't want to do because they don't want him there. So, as we were discussing it in our shows earlier in the week, I said this. Well, if it's Nikola Jokic, and if they went to him, which apparently they may have, but he did not give Coach Malone a ringing endorsement. As a matter of fact, it was really anything but that. So it came out on Friday that, he had basically lost the locker room. There was a lot of low morale is what I'm trying to say. That is actually what I read. And as we talk about the playoffs, we got to have an intro. We got to have an entry from guess who?
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
And that is the thing. The Nuggets just won the championship 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And they lost in the Western Conference semifinals last year and could quite probably get there again this season. But again, the morale apparently was low. No ringing endorsement from your superstar, and then that makes for an exit. And they've also decided they're not going to renew the contract of their GM, Calvin Booth, who is him and Malone, responsible for drafting Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., as well as Jamal Murray. These guys led these guys to a NBA championship for the first time in franchise history. And it just goes to show you, dog, there's one thing for sure, and that's nothing's for sure. All right, so here we are, and I see my partner in crime out there watching KKP. That, of course, is Kimberly Knight Proza, and she is amazing in her own right. We have scheduled, or we actually have we've organized a protest, and I'm going to put it on the screen right now because it is important that we understand what is going on as we get ready to get into the portion of the show that basically says, when will enough be enough? So we're putting together this protest, and you can see it there on the screen. And if you can't, that's fine. For everybody that will be ultimately listening over the weekend, or once the weekend is come and gone, we're talking about April 26th, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Rockwall County Courthouse, 1111 East Yellow Jacket in Rockwall, Texas. It's being put on by KKP and myself, and we're going to have our signs out there, and we're going to have everything out there that we need to peacefully protest and exercise our constitutional right. We're going to go out there and we're going to have fun, and we're going to do what we need to do. And we're not going to go out there and do anything that's going to get us either put in a hospital, put in jail, or put in the morgue. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to go out there, we're going to peacefully protest, and we're going to have a good time, and then we're going to wrap up and we're going to go home. That's what it's going to be. But this is the reason why I say what I say, and the reason why what's on the screen is what's on the screen. Simply because of this, ladies and gentlemen. When is enough going to be enough? It's not enough that we have this raging trade war with arguably the biggest partner, or one of the biggest trade partners that we have. It's not enough that the price of everything, from water to the ink that goes on the little labels, to gas, to electronics, to everything else, is going to go up. We understand that. And look, if you voted for Donald Trump, cool. That's, you have every right to vote for whoever you want to vote for. But that ain't what this is about. Because here's the thing. The market the stock market, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend KKP like I am just a stock genius or a market connoisseur or any of those things. But I do know that when you see a minus sign outside of a number, when it comes to people's money, that ain't a good thing. I have enough sense to know that that's not a good thing. And we have been seeing a lot of that in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump was on record. He got caught by a hot mic on Thursday talking about how much money Charles Schwab made in one day and how much money some other dude made in one day. And best believe that it was more than $25. You can best believe that it was more than $25,000. Basically, what I'm saying is that these already multi-billionaires are raking in more money, even though the market is tanking. Why? Because they're doing it on purpose. Do I have any firsthand knowledge of this? No, but I got common sense. They're doing it on purpose. And the people that are suffering are the working class, people that don't make six figures, that don't make seven figures. And if you do make six figures, it's got to be above $400,001 for you to be able to experience or benefit from those tax cuts. So here's my question, America. What is it going to take? How much more is it going to take for us to understand that they are doing this on purpose? It is a plan and a ploy to see who can become the first trillionaire in the world. And I understand, I think Elon Musk has made an additional $42 billion just this week. So guess what? When the Tesla stock went down and then the president said, you know what? Let's do a halt to these tariffs. Let's do a halt to this trade war. And Tesla stocks went back up. Oh, okay, so now it's all good. Because it wasn't that long ago, ladies and gentlemen, when the shareholders at Tesla were saying, yo, Elon, you need to step down. But see, they're doing it on purpose. They're doing it on purpose so they can continue to increase their net worth while furthering the divide of wealth between the haves and the have-nots. Now, there could be other reasons why you voted for this particular administration, but I can tell you right now that the people that I know, ain't none of them got no $1 billion. None of them. Unless they got it and we somehow don't know about it. And if that's the case, more power to you. But here's the thing. They have used this for ages to divide us. That's why we have 3 political parties in this country. And it's always been at least 3 political parties in this country. Because you have the head of one party, the head of another party, and the head of the other party all in cahoots with one another. And it's really a race to see who is going to be the most beneficiary person that's going to get to that $1 trillion status. And right now, Elon Musk has a tremendous leg up on everybody, mama. And he used the United States. You talk about being finessed. You talk about being fleeced. The United States has been fleeced by a dude that has 14 kids and is not married to any of the mamas. They're being fleeced. We're being fleeced by a dude who is in the highest office in the land that has been convicted 34 times of a felony. He can't even go outside of the United States to certain countries because of his felonious record. You got a guy that's the president of the United States that has been sued for stealing from his own charities, taking money from kids. That is where we are. So my question is this: how much more? How much more are we going to allow before we say, yo, y'all have been fleecing us for all this time, and now it's time for the madness to stop? I guarantee you we can find at least 5 things. I mean, the majority of us. I don't mean the top 2% income earners in the country. I don't mean the millionaires that are continually getting richer because of certain tax breaks. I'm talking about those of us that are lower class, middle class, upper middle class, and the like. We can find 5 things, ladies and gentlemen, 5 that we can come together on and be like, yo, you know what? They've been doing this to us for years. They've been doing this to us for years. So now we know it. The ground that is probably the most common, grocery prices. They're going up. They're going to continue to go up. Man, I went to the store the other day and I remember green bell peppers used to be priced at like 59 cents a piece. Well, guess what? Across the street at the neighborhood or at the grocery store across the street from our neighborhood, they're like $1.20 for each one. I go to Kroger and where they used to be like 59 cents, 49 cents, yeah, they're all the way up to 79 cents. And if you don't use your Kroger card, guess what? You're not going to get the discount. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's our point of unity right there. Because nobody, and I mean nobody, there is nobody out there that voted for higher prices on anything. And the fact of the matter is we have been lied to, but we haven't just not been lied to by this president. We have been lied to by the government for ages. So now I pose the question not to put one against the other, not to say, you know what, you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat, or I'm a Democrat and you're a Republican, or vice versa, or I'm a conservative and you're a liberal, and that's just what it is. No, I'm asking for a point of provocative thought. How much more is it going to take for us to realize, ladies and gentlemen, that they've been finessing us and fleecing us for all this time? So while most of us can't afford a lot of the things that they're talking about going up, it's going to be everything. It's going to be everything. I mean, anything from the price of groceries to the writing or the ink that goes on the outside of labels. All of that stuff is going to increase in price. And guess who's going to pay for it? Us. Really unnecessarily, we're going to pay for it. So my question to you is this, as we get ready to go to break, and thank you guys out there for your attention to this matter. How much more, America, is it going to take? Come on back on the other side of the break. We're going to get back to the NBA. Actually, we're going to get to some NCAA basketball and then the NFL. Willie Epting Jr., ShakeBack Sports Show. Y'all come back and holler at us.